The fate of former police officer Mark Torre Jr. is now in the hands of the jury, which is deliberating on whether to convict him of murdering fellow officer Sergeant Albert Piolo. Just this morning, Chief Prosecutor Phil Tydinko responded to the defense's closing with the prosecution's final rebuttal argument. PNC's Donna De Jesus has the details.
Innocent until proven guilty. That is one of the preliminary instructions given to a jury before deliberation. In the murder trial of former Guam police officer Mark Torre Jr., the jury has heard 15 days of testimony, seen hundreds of crime scene photos, and listened to the prosecution and defense sum them all up in their closing arguments. This morning, Chief Prosecutor Phil Tydinko responded to the defense's closing with the prosecution's final rebuttal argument, still maintaining that Torre's awareness of his recklessness and his self-intoxication means there is no need for a motive to kill fellow police officer Sergeant Albert Piolo.
Why would you need motive when you're reckless? Why would you need motive when you self-induce your intoxication?
Another point Tydinko attempted to counter was the suicide theory after the defense used text message records between Piolo and several women to paint a picture that he was unhappy, depressed, or suicidal.
And that brings us to blaming the victim. Trying to prove through all those text messages, Viber, WhatsApp, Snapchat, phone call, that he was unhappy with his marriage to his wife. There's no medical, clinical evidence he was depressed or suicidal. By all accounts, Bert was a good-natured, friendly person, not a good husband, physically small in stature, but had a big heart and a large appetite for life with his many pursuits, working 3 jobs, selling his Good Vibes clothing line, playing in a band, being active with his social fraternity, Dominus, finding some time to be with his family. We heard from his wife, went to breakfast that morning, still trying to fix the house, doing a lot of things.
Tydinko also tried to debunk the defense's claim that Piolo was delirious when making the 911 call, and therefore what he said may not have been true.
What the evidence shows is that Bert, despite being shot, despite being in pain, excruciating pain, despite even being in shock, had enough life in him to get away from the defendant, to get his cell phone back, because we have testimony that the defendant had both phones, to make a call to 911, to answer some of the questions in 911, despite the pain and the shock. Bert Piolo's death, done recklessly, was preventable.
Defense attorney Jay Arreola requested to have the jury sequestered, saying the chances of the extensive media coverage influencing the jurors' judgment are too great. Judge Michael Bordallo denied the motion. All the evidence was delivered to the jury room late this morning, and the jury has begun their deliberations. And now, only time will tell. Reporting for PNC, I'm Donna De Jesus.